You've been known to share the winnings from your triathlons with other elite competitors. Do you think that investing in the performance of others helps your own competition and your drive? And that's from Zoe.
Yeah, well, thank you, Zoe. I think a couple of things. One thing, not just about the prize money specifically, but in terms of a training environment, we were always very open with our training. Basically anyone could come join in, and that's been very good in lots of ways because we've had some fantastic people to train with us and training partners, like I talked about earlier, has motivated both of us to train more and harder and made it more enjoyable. And so, there is value obviously to us in that, and also the value of doing the right thing. It's not always been a good thing. There's been people who have come along and made it more difficult, but on the whole, it has been a good thing, and it has been doing the right thing. In terms specifically on that prize money thing, that was a specific kind of situation of I'd kind of organised that race in Helvellyn and put it together, and managed to convince the international body of the PTO to put money in it. And the PTO earlier this year decided to pay out on their rankings before the end of the year, and I was sat second in the rankings, so I basically got a good payout of money, and then had organised this race, and I was like, not sure if I should take the prize money. I think it'd be a good gesture if I handed it out to some of the guys who basically haven't really had very much money this year to go off, so did that. So I just thought it was the right thing to do.
Awesome, nice. Alison in Switzerland, and it was actually Alison's idea to get you on this morning. So we had Michael Owen on over lockdown. So you're following Michael Owen. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
She has asked, what will be your legacy? Great question.
Well, there's a difference to what it'll actually be to what I'd hope it'd be, but let's go with what I'd hope it'd be. I'd hope it'd be, someone who was ultra competitive and got the absolute best out of himself in a competitive situation in triathlon, but also was part of a movement that inspired lots of young people and older people to do sport more day in, day out. And I think in terms of triathlon, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, most people kind of hadn't heard of it. Now people know what it is, and most importantly, know that anyone can have a go on the whole. You can enter a little local triathlon or like the London Triathlon or something, and just do it to get fit or as a goal or to raise money for charity. And I'd kind of like that to be part of my legacy, really.
If you were one of the guys on this Zoom call now that wants to train for a triathlon, where would you start?
So I think a really good start is entering a race, because then there's a goal in your mind. You've got something to aim for, and I think that's great. It might be it won't be in 3 weeks' time because they're all cancelled, but it might be soon. It might be hopefully it's next summer. And so you've got a goal, what you've got to train for. And that's important. And then try and put a consistent training plan together, or get a training plan that you can consistently do week in, week out. And I think consistency is so important in endurance training. You don't want to go out and do loads of training this week because you've got a week off, and then no training the next 2 weeks because you're busy at work. I think it's about, this is a busy week at work, I've got 5 hours or 8 hours that I can train around my work and family commitments. I'm going to try and do that for the next 6 months, and that's how you'd see the real gains.
Is there a particular order that you would practice in? Do you always swim because it's normally the first event, or do you normally run for? Is there any right way of doing it?
No, there's no right or wrong way of doing it. It's just about kind of what's convenient. If you can use a swimming pool on the way to work in the morning, that's great. If you can, use cycling as part of your commute, that's also great. I think the real key is about, how can I fit in, training around my lifestyle to be as efficient kind of as possible, really.
You mentioned lockdown a second ago. It's obviously been a crazy year, a really weird year in many ways. I read a story about you in the newspaper, and it said that over lockdown period you wanted to make sure that you could stay as fit as you possibly could. Obviously all the gyms were closed, and I read that you got rid of your car from the garage and you had a swimming pool put in there with a running machine on the bottom. Is that right?
Well, yeah, kind of. Never really had the car in the garage, so it was an empty garage. But apart from that,
maybe I made that bit up.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's called an endless pool, and it's great. It's only 5 meters long, and it's like a treadmill for swimming. So it pushes water towards you, and you swim the same place, but obviously you can make it harder or easier depending on what speed setting it's on. And yeah, it was great. It meant that I could my commute to training in the morning. Actually, I'm going to go after we finished here. I'm just going to go and jump on it now. So it meant my commute to training in the morning was good. Get up and basically walk across the drive, and I was at training.
That just shows how dedicated that you are. Nothing's going to stop you. Whether it's a lockdown, the gym shut, no problem. I get a swimming pool in my garage. That's absolutely awesome. Good story.
Thanks.
You should add the bit in about the car though.
Yeah.
Please do subscribe, hit the button.